welcome to We'll See You in Hell, the podcast brought to you by the FANGORIA Podcast Network. If you want some information about our show or the other shows on the network, you can visit fangoria.com. But for now, just focus on us, because we're back. Patty Walsh, we're back.
Back, baby. When to kick this off, I promised someone on Twitter, I can look her handle up in a bit, that I would give her a classic play. Because I would do that when we do our old commentary episodes, when we'd hit play. You know what, Joe? Reading the tweets, there's been a lot of tweets lately. There's so many people who are like, love the show, but I'm missing the old commentary format. And in the old days, all the tweets would be, love the show.
Right.
I just wish it wasn't tied to a... You can't please people, you know?
I am surprised at the amount of requests I've seen for the old commentary format to come back. I don't...
Well, if those people, when we were doing it, had said, keep doing it, I love the commentary format, but you never do that, you only complain.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm not talking to you, listener. I'm talking to people in general, Yelp reviewers, etc.
The royal you. Or no, that's the opposite.
Yeah. We want to hear everything you've got to say. I've gotten a lot better at responding to the tweets. And as I was just saying to Joe, right as our heat started rising, we were climbing the iTunes charts. We're getting a lot more tweets. We heard about our download count, which was getting very high and good. We just stopped doing it for a month because we're self-sabotagers. And that's what we do. Joe was out of town.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm sorry. We appreciate that you kept us alive and in your hearts. I hope you caught up with some of the archives.
I had to go make the bacon.
I understand.
Joe
supports us. We married in the interim. And, I needed a little me time. I'm pregnant. And, we got 3 mouths to feed around here.
Yeah, I regrettably had to go away for a full month. And I just got back. But I will say this to our credit. The first thing we did when I got back is the podcast.
That's true.
I've been back for like a day and a half.
We're back in the saddle again, as Steven Tyler once said.
I met a few fans out there on the road. Some people had some very nice things to say about the podcast.
I heard the shout-out on At Midnight last night. Joe did very well on At Midnight with Pete Holmes.
I won. I mean, you could say
no, the ending was cut off on DirecTV, so I didn't see that. Because
cut off.
I love that even cable won't give Joe DeRosa a win. They got to just cut out at the last second. So
it was cut off?
When they went to the last commercial break, because I recorded it, it was not on there.
Oh, God.
And instead, I got an extra minute and a half of Trevor Noah interviewing perhaps the most boring man alive. Jon Stewart used to get good guests. Sometimes it'd be somebody who wrote a book about, something that I should care about but don't.
Sure.
Something about the history of America or something.
Sure.
However, Trevor Noah, every time I click in, last night it was an opera singer.
An opera singer?
That's who Trevor Noah is interviewing. And I understand it's hard to get guests, but it's not that hard.
What was the opera?
I figure
what opera is he plugging?
We could have bigger names in this apartment within about a half hour. You know that's true.
I feel like we could have bigger names than Trevor Noah himself.
I haven't given him a fair shake. I was already thinking this is a lot to commit to watching Jon Stewart 2 hours a week, even though I loved him and I would love to have him now and I'd be watching it. Trevor just doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. I hear Samantha Bee's great. I haven't checked her out. There's only so much time in the day.
We've crossed paths in comedy. Very nice guy, funny guy.
Yeah.
But I don't. And I've got a few friends on the new Daily Show. I'm not loving there's something's off or so. I can't tell what it is.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It just doesn't have something. Yeah. But I got to tell you too. And people call me crazy for this frequently. I was a bigger fan of the Kilborn Daily Show than the Stewart one.
Never had cable at that point.
I mean, Kilborn would just come out, and he would just be so mean the whole time. I loved it.
Was it a political show then, too?
It was more like a spoof of a news show.
Okay.
That was more celebratory than it should have been of the anchors.
Okay.
But they still did the field pieces, but it was more weird stuff where they kind of made people look dumb.
Well, he
there's
seems
certainly
like just a tremendous asshole. I mean, maybe I'm going off of old school in his performance in that movie, but
no, he was like that. He
that
was like
seems
that
real to me in that movie.
He was like that on the show, and it made me laugh really hard. He used to do this thing called 5 questions, and one time he had and a famous question that he would ask is describe yourself in 3 words.
Mm-hmm.
And one time Kathy Ireland was on, and he said describe yourself in 3 words, and she went and he goes exactly.
That's good. That's good. All right. Maybe I won't check them out because they're not available, and Craig Kilborn hasn't been in anything in 20 years.
Forever.
Yeah.
He would also do this thing where he'd go, it's Friday, and all I want to do is dance, 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 and they would jump around the cameras, and he'd get up and start dancing. It was a very enjoyable show.
All right. Maybe I'll see if I can find some on YouTube.
None of that.
I'm
none
not
of that.
actually do that, folks. But
None of that weight of the world crap was in there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
None of that news. But Pat, it's
what are we doing first? We doing our movie catch up, or are we getting into the task at hand?
no, we got to do the movie catch up.
Okay. Well, sometimes we do it at the end, sometimes
I
at the
didn't
beginning.
finish telling you. I met many fans on the road,
Please, you know I love hearing about many fans.
all very complimentary of Pat Walsh,
Oh,
to the point where they were apologizing to me.
what did they say?
They were saying very nice things about you. That I love Pat, and I love when he says this. I love when he says that.
What are the things that they love?
I
I don't get many
had-
compliments in the day. I need this.
I had tuned out at that point in the conversation.
He said, not about me.
No.
Let me switch it into off position.
No, they were saying very nice things, and I said the fans love Patty Walsh,
Yeah.
and then the person would inevitably go, but no, I like you too, and I go, it's okay,
Right.
This is not an ego bruise of any kind. People love Patty Walsh.
If anybody ever complimented you to me, I would say, I accept that for the two of us, mutually. It hasn't happened yet, but when it does, I would share that compliment with you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's do the movie rundown. I wrote my movies down.
I should have. I've seen so many because it's been so long that I'm gonna shave half of it and put them into the next podcast.
Okay,
But
I'm gonna blow my whole load right here.
go ahead, Joe. You start.
No, you start. I feel like this is your segment, and then I just chime in, and then I feel like the bad reviews thing is my segment, and then you chime in.
Okay, fair enough. Here's what I've seen. I'm gonna go through them. I've also seen some movies that haven't come out yet. Oscar screenings. I hate to brag. I saw. Let's start right away with Bad Santa 2. Because I have a story to share. I'm sorry you heard this last night, but
And you don't want to tell this story on the Silent Night, Deadly Night podcast? Don't you think that it fits?
all right. You know what, folks? That's what we call in radio a tease.
Yeah.
I've got a real nice Bad
Yeah.
Santa story to share.
Salivate for it, you motherfuckers.
I like to make them drool for it. I saw Arrival. Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner.
Couldn't be less interested in the film.
I mean, the poster is boring. The actors are boring. But everyone was raving about it. And the director, Denis Villeneuve, I believe, he did Prisoners, which I think is one of the best thrillers made since, Silence of the Lambs 7. One of the best.
Right.
I love Prisoners. Have you seen it?
I never saw Prisoners, no.
Why don't you come over to the house and watch Prisoners sometime?
Okay.
We should do that for the show. It counts as horror.
Oh,
It's
all
a
right.
terrifying movie.
All right.
Fantastic.
Let's do it.
And it was so incredibly well directed, and I was like, I love this guy. He also did Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal, which is kind of interesting.
Right.
Sicario, which I thought was really cool as well.
Right.
This movie looks amazing. It didn't engage me in any way. I was bored by it. Amy Adams, folks, she's always fine. I loved her in Doubt. She's just kind of a boring actress, and Jeremy Renner is the most boring actor in the world.
I love Jeremy Renner in The Town. I found him.
Well, and what's the Hurt Locker? But that's it.
Yeah, but and he was good as Dahmer too. He's a good actor. He's just I hear what you're saying.
He's not meant to. What he is a character actor who they put in these big boring roles. It's like what they've done with every interesting actor since the dawn of time.
Fair
and they get
enough.
addicted to the money.
Fair enough.
And they just keep doing it.
Fair enough.
Did you see the Squirt Locker? the porno.
I lived it.
Also not great.
Yeah.
No, Arrival all hinges on this twist that was kind of interesting, I guess, but it's kind of a slog. It would have been an amazing Black Mirror or Twilight Zone. You know, it should have been would have been really cool as one of those things.
The movie to me reeked of Contact. And Contact is a movie I despise. I mean, I find it to be just one of the most boring 2-hour experiences you could ever have with a movie.
I haven't seen it since, early high school, and I remember thinking it was kind of cool, but I haven't seen it since. I don't know.
That movie stinks. All right.
Doctor Strange.
Saw it.
I dug it. And I hate Marvel
shit. It was a pile of shit.
Really?
Yes.
Well, here we go. Button heads already. I mean,
maybe this is the Doctor Strange episode. That counts for this.
Yeah, it could.
It could. All right, this is the Doctor Strange episode.
Seriously? Oh, yeah, because we haven't announced what we're doing.
Why not?
All right. Then, folks, I'm going to get to Doctor Strange in a moment.
Because we didn't say what we were going to do already.
You see how well organized this podcast is? Yeah, all right, we'll do Doctor Strange.
We didn't say what we were going to do already, and we can do that on another show. Let's do another tease.
All right.
We were going to do Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
That now will be another episode this month.
Yeah. So
and let's tease another episode we'll be doing this. The other episode, and I already said it, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Because we're doing one a week to make up for the time we were away. So if you want to watch these movies to prepare, go ahead. Jeepers Creepers, which, folks, I dug into the backstory of this thing. I have a hot take on Jeepers Creepers that's going to flip your wigs. Seriously. And Silent Night, Deadly Night, I started digging into the Wikipedia for this shit. It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, there's some real goofy stuff out there for Silent
Crazy.
Night. But let's not get too deep into it now. I just stood up. I'm so excited to get into this Doctor Strange because I had no idea this was going to happen. And man, did I hate that movie. But go ahead, finish your recap.
Folks, this is the kind of thrilling moment you can come to expect from the return of We'll See You in Hell. I saw Nocturnal Animals. Again, Amy Adams, Jake Gyllenhaal, the Tom Ford movie. This thing, folks, they're putting it out for Oscars, apparently. Tom Ford's first movie, A Single Man, or whatever. Karen Kilgariff has already corrected me because last time I said A Simple Man or A Simple Plan or A Serious Man.
There's a movie called A Simple Man,
There's a Serious Man, there's a Single Man, there's a Simple Plan, there's a Simple Man.
There's Demolition Man.
There's Demolition Man. And I honestly don't remember what the name of this first Tom Ford movie was, but I liked it. Nocturnal Animals is very boring and just kind of baffling and dumb, and it thinks it's saying something and it's not. It does open with 5 minutes of morbidly obese women dancing completely nude. I urge you to check that out.
What is the point of that?
There's no point to anything in the fucking movie. The movie is basically Amy Adams reading a book. She's sitting in bed reading a book, and then the book is... Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's two different stories, and you see how they connect. But Jesus, folks, it's not great.
All right. Well, speaking of Gyllenhaal, if I could jump in with one.
Why don't you jump in, Joe?
I saw Demolition, which I texted you from the airplane as I was watching it.
Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
Passed it up. I wanted to see it in theaters, but I was sick that day. That's a David Spade joke.
I have a good plane joke. Watch Demolition on the plane. 4 people walked out.
Oh, I always love that one.
That's a Kevin. Well, I don't know if it's a Kevin James joke, but I heard him say
That's not a Kevin James joke.
I heard him say it to Ray Romano about Welcome to Mooseport, which I thought was a great line. But anyway.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's not a Kevin James joke.
Hey, what can I say?
Although his one stand-up special is extremely funny, and I think he's underrated all around. I've heard not a great man in person. Is what
you didn't shit on the guy. You just said it wasn't his joke.
No, then I actually doubled down by actually shitting on his character.
You did.
All right.
I don't know why you did that. I don't know why you did any of that.
I'm a King of Queens fan.
Me too. That's why I didn't say anything bad about the man.
Yeah.
The Demolition. I 110% love the film. Jake Gyllenhaal always delivers. It's a movie. Minor spoiler alert. In the first 5 minutes.
That's not a spoiler.
He and his wife get into a major car accident. She dies. He walks away without a scratch.
Yeah.
And then it's a good 90 minutes of him trying to figure out why he doesn't give a shit at all.
Yeah. That sounds like right up my alley.
And, of course, over that 90 minutes, what starts as like a sort of humorous indifference slowly devolves into him discovering his emotions, and it gets dark. And fucking great movie. You
texted me in tears.
Your boy Chris Cooper's in it. I mean, it's in the same way that planes, trains, and automobiles.
Whoa.
Let me just say this.
Whoa.
In the same way that this statement is true about trains, planes, and automobiles, it's true about demolition. If you watch the end of that movie and you don't cry,
I hate when people say that, because then I don't. Then suddenly I'm Jake Gyllenhaal spending 90 minutes wondering why I didn't cry at the end of a Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
Folks,
boy, I'm really firing on all cylinders tonight.
You're all revved up. What happened? Big day at work today, huh?
No.
I'll throw another one at you.
Please.
I saw In a Valley of Violence.
Heard about it. Tell me about it. I don't know what that is.
Ty West film.
Is he not T.I. West?
No, that's a rapper you're thinking of.
No, I know T.I.
It's T.I. West? I thought it was Ty West.
Maybe it's Ty. You never see Ty spelled T.I.
Well, in any case, I think his name should be Ty South, because I'd like to see this guy head for the border with this crap he's churning out.
All right.
He's a big horror director. Some people love him. His movies are a bit polarizing. I liked House of the Devil quite a bit.
Loved House of the Devil.
I thought The Innkeepers was very boring.
I agree, although
uneven.
I liked aspects of it, and my old pal Pat Healy was great in it.
I thought he was very good in it, and I liked him in that movie with David Koechner, too.
Oh, that's a fantastic one.
Yeah.
Cheap Thrills. Check that out.
And I liked the main girl, and I liked everybody in Innkeepers. It was only two people, but I thought it was... I just didn't like the movie for some reason.
Very awesome final shot that I rewound like 5 times, but on the whole, it left me a little cold. I agree.
In a Valley of Violence comes out swinging. It comes out swinging.
Okay.
You're like, this is... Did Tarantino ghostwrite this? What's going on here, man? This is like this is what we're looking for. Travolta comes in.
How's
full
that? What's the
fucking
hair like?
Steam. He's got a hat on for most of it,
That's
but
a
he's
smart move. Travolta.
He's great in it.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke, great.
I love Ethan Hawke.
And somewhere around the halfway point, I got very high with a buddy of mine in New York on marijuana.
Oh boy!
And we watched the film, and halfway through, I started going, that scene was terrible. What the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, you're high. You're dissecting it too much. It's not bad. It started great. This is all in your head. And then about 20 minutes later, my friend turned to me and he was like, what the fuck happened to this movie? This has been terrible the last 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, so it's not in my head, right? And he's like, no.
What's the gist?
Ethan Hawke goes down into a town. He's a drifter type, but he's a fair man. He's got It's John Wick. He's got a dog. Spoiler alert. Yeah. He's got a dog. These guys, this pack of ruffians in the town who work for the sheriff, who's played by Travolta. His son leads this like pack of sort of outlaw guys that are working under the badge of the law but doing shady shit. His son is played by the goofy cop from from Sinister 1 and 2.
Okay.
So right there, you're like, I'm not buying this guy as a scary person.
No.
But anyway. And they get into a disagreement with Ethan Hawke. They kill his dog. He goes back for revenge. It's John Wick.
That completely is John Wick, which is awesome.
And there's a scene where Ethan Hawke is screaming, I believe, when he finally confronts the son of the sheriff. I believe he's just screaming, "Why did you kill my dog? Why did you kill my dog?" And it's not supposed to be funny, and it just doesn't work, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It's very, you can see how it's supposed to be this Tarantino-y spaghetti Western kind of take on that sort of thing, but it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But I like Travolta in it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Go ahead.
All right. I saw, I'll go with Fantastic Beasts and How to Fuck Them, as I said on Twitter. Fantastic Beasts and whatever, the new Harry Potter. Folks,
I'm dying to see it.
you'll not find a bigger fan of the Harry Potter films than me. That's not true. There's some nerdy little kid who I'm sure likes it more than I do. But I love the Harry Potter movies.
I just got the Blu-ray set, Black Friday deal.
Saw it on Amazon.
$35.
I know. I think I probably paid $60 for it. And the movie is awful, folks. The group I was with liked it quite a bit more than me, but I'm going to say this. Eddie Redmayne it does nothing for me. He plays it as if he's severely autistic, and I have seen a lot of people take that stance on it. I'm not trying to be controversial here. I think he's playing it as somebody he's playing it like I Am Sam or something. He plays every scene in a very strange, stilted manner that I did not like.
Okay.
So right away, you're comparing that to your HP. You got nothing.
Right.
His whole thing is he carries around a sack of awful beasts that attack people. So, of course, no one wants to be around him, nor do I.
Why is he carrying this sack around?
He's trying to, like, capture them, but then, like, he's like, the only way this beast can be captured is to throw a cockroach at it. I'm like, what? You're a wizard. Do whatever you want.
Right.
Like, he's got all these stupid rules. The only person likable in it is an actor I've never liked before, Dan Fogler, who was great in it. And I was like,
Dan Fogler?
He used to be in every movie, and then Josh Gad started getting all of his parts.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
You know, the other Josh Gad.
Yeah, I like that guy in that movie where it's him and is it Justin Long? I don't know. It's him and I think it's the kid from The Girl Next Door. I don't know. They're running around town partying, doing coke all night. It's a great flick.
Really? Never heard of it.
Yeah, and it's like the
Maybe
kid's
I've
going to
seen
try
it.
to like have sex with his high school crush for the first, he's finally going to. It's sort of like a Can't Hardly Wait kind of thing, except with coke.
Huh.
But that kid
I don't think I know what that
finds a
is.
bag of coke and like does all of it in it, and he
okay.
has the time of his life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I do like Fogler. He doesn't go as broad as Gad. I liked him in Balls of Fury, which is kind of an underrated movie.
Yeah,
with Christopher Walken.
I enjoyed Balls of Fury.
But
Fantastic Beasts, thumbs down.
It was bad, but then you know how like the third Lord of the Rings movie had like 25 endings?
Yeah.
And you're just completely checked out and you don't care anymore and you want to slit your throat?
Yeah.
This movie had 40 endings.
Now, how was my main man Colin Farrell?
I love Colin Farrell. I really do. And he is so fucking boring. That's the one thing everyone in my group that liked the movie could agree on. Colin Farrell, it's as though he was doing like some camera blocking. Like, just run it real quick so we make sure we got the cameras, and then that's the take they used every time. You're playing a villain in a kid's movie. You can't amp it up a little bit?
Ham it, baby. Ham it.
He was absolutely terrible. The movie sucks. And, they're going to make 8 more of them, so good for them.
I've heard it's a wonderful film, and I'm excited to see it.
From who?
Well, I've read some nice reviews. And
Are you talking about Take Me Home Tonight on that Fogler picture?
Yes.
I saw that in Hawaii, so I don't remember it that well. But, yeah, okay. That was a fine movie.
Yeah, it was a nice time. Let's get into this.
Yeah, I'm going to cut it off there.
I got 3 more that we can talk about next time. You've got a few more we can talk about next time.
I do.
Let's get into this Doctor Strange debacle.
Doctor Strange. Again, you're going up against generally positive feedback from everyone in the world.
Yeah, and I will say this, and I believe I have said it before, never have I been more convinced that Marvel is paying people for their reviews.
Well, I don't like any of them, and I thought this one was great. I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
This is a terrible, terrible, terrible movie,
folks,
for many reasons. And I am in the beneficial position of having seen both the cartoon Doctor Strange film and this Doctor Strange film.
What was the cartoon Doctor Strange?
It was a Marvel animated feature.
Okay.
And I saw that before I saw the real one or the live action one, and I was able to compare and see everything they did wrong in the live action one. But regardless of that,
see, are you coming at this from like a guy who read Doctor Strange comics?
No, never read it once.
Okay.
Never read it once.
All right.
But I can tell you, even without having seen the cartoon. The knowledge of what happened in the cartoon just amplified why I thought the other stuff sucked in the live action one. Well, okay, let's start with the character himself.
Well, I guess technically we're supposed to recap Doctor Strange. Go ahead. Go ahead with that.
Okay. Hey, guys, his name is Stephen Strange, and he gets powers.
Yeah.
There's your fucking premise.
That's about it, yeah.
How is nobody joking about that, by the way?
That his name's Stephen Strange?
Yeah.
I think I saw some tweets.
Nobody, but, I mean, they don't make a joke in the movie?
No, that's a good point.
Your name's already Strange.
And they were making jokes in the movie, so that is a little odd.
Okay, so speaking of jokes, first complaint. Yet another Marvel protagonist that is written exactly like Tony Stark. Exactly. It's the same character again. They cannot write a male character in their movies unless they write him as Tony Stark. They said they toned down the comedy in this movie. Let me tell you how much they toned down the comedy in this pile of fucking dog shit that they called a film. When there's a scene where he's in the temple and he's about to embark on his journey in learning magic, and it's his first night, and a character brings him up to his room and gives him a card with a I would assume an Indian word or something on it, and Dr. Strange goes, "Is this my mantra for when I meditate?" And the guy goes, "No, it's the Wi-Fi password. We're not savages."
That sucked. That was used in the trailer. Got a massive laugh from the audience I saw it with. I did not laugh. That sucks.
The fucking told you. The part. So he's got to go to this temple in India to learn the ways of magic, and he walks in off the street. He just walks in off the street and to meet this person called the Ancient One. Now let me just
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton. Now I'm going to get to that too because I got a lot to say here. Now, let me just explain. In the comic books, Stephen Strange is discovered.
I thought you said you hadn't read the comic books.
Well, I'm basing this on the movie and what I read on Wikipedia and stuff like that because I was watching the cartoon, I was reading up on it and stuff because I knew I wanted to see the live action. So, at least in some storylines, as far as I can tell, and from what I've seen, Stephen is discovered by the Ancient One. He sees something that a human being who's regular shouldn't be able to see, and the Ancient One then says, "You have a gift. I want to talk to you." And, of course, he doesn't believe in her because he's a man of science, and she's saying that magic is possible. Let me tell you how he meets the Ancient One in this Marvel movie. He goes to a basketball court, and Benjamin Bratt walks over and just tells him
that was weird.
Where to go. So this is how you find the Ancient One? This is how you become a superhero? You just go find Benjamin Bratt playing one-on-one, and he goes, "Yeah, here's the address. Go ahead." So then he goes to the place.
And I forget, how did Benjamin Bratt know him?
Oh, yeah, just another great example of how dog shit the writing is in the movie. Benjamin Bratt, he seeks out Benjamin Bratt because Benjamin Bratt
was a paraplegic.
Had nerve damage, was a paraplegic.
Yes.
And he fixed himself, and in the beginning of the movie, Strange gets into an accident. His hands, he's a surgeon, he has nerve damage in his hands, he can't operate anymore, can't be fixed. There's this one case of a man who had nerve damage worse than him and is somehow walking around again.
Shooting some hoops.
Yeah, he hunts the guy down. He finds him in New York. Conveniently, he's just in the same city where he lives.
Yeah.
And it's Benjamin Bratt, and he approaches Benjamin Bratt, and Benjamin Bratt, despite the fact that Benedict Cumberbatch has now grown a beard and looks like a homeless person with lice, goes, "I know who you are. You wouldn't treat me because the case wasn't big enough, wasn't flashy." And I mean, could this get any lazier? This is like paint by numbers Nickelodeon sitcom writing. It's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic.
You thought putting him in a time loop and all that stuff, that was like...
Oh, we'll get to all that bullshit. Let's go through it step by step. So then...
See, really, these things boil down to like Joe recapping the plot, but saying it with such disgust that you're like, yeah, I guess that was stupid.
No, that's bad writing. It's the one guy that can help me, I just also happened to turn away before I saw the light. Oh, what? Oh, how life is so circular. They might as well play that fucking Lion King song behind it. It's absurd.
I would not argue with that.
It's fucking absurd. So then, Strange, who apparently has no money, they've nailed this fucking point home 6 times now, that he's literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt because he spent all of his
You know
money.
who had a lot of money? Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But you're saying he's exactly like Tony Stark.
Well, he did have a lot of money because he was a famous surgeon, and then what world is this, by the way, where there's a famous surgeon? I buy a surgeon that's got a lot of money. He's like a celebrity surgeon.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, they come to him with these patients. He's like, pass. I don't want it. It's
Hard
not big
pass.
enough. Anyway, so they explicitly over and over tell you that he's not squandered, but he spent all of his money that he had trying to fix his hands. Didn't work. Now he's exhausted his credit, and he's in hundreds of thousands of debt to the banks for these loans. Nobody will lend him another dime. Somehow he can go from New York to India. Somehow. Okay, whatever. Somehow he's there. Somehow he's eating. Somehow he's deathly weak. With nothing, yet he's able to walk through blizzards and shit like that. Anyway, he gets...
You've never dated a girl who claimed to have no money and then showed up with an all-new wardrobe, Joe?
He gets to India, backpacks his way to this address.
Yeah.
Literally a street address.
Mm-hmm.
That you can just get from Benjamin Bratt again. I can't emphasize enough how stupid that is.
I will say, I didn't think much of it at the time, but I mean, yeah, that is a little stupid that he gets there through Benjamin Bratt. But I don't know how it's supposed to be, or how it was in the comics, or how it was in the show.
Even if you don't know, it's just bad writing. He then walks in off the street. He meets the Ancient One immediately.
True.
Immediately, she's just in there. She's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And let me tell you how fucking disgraceful that they had Tilda Swinton in that role. Okay, it's supposed to be an Asian man. Okay?
Yeah.
Then they said, we want to change to a woman. Fine, I don't have a problem with that. Then they made her Tilda Swinton, and then the director goes, oh, we did that so the Asian lady wouldn't come off as a dragon lady and a stereotype.
Yeah, I found that pretty baffling. They did that because there are no... and this is not cool, but there are no bankable... Not that Tilda Swinton's, moving the dial, but there are no bankable female Asian stars. It's the truth, which is sad.
It was
but
insulting.
That's why they did it. So then to lie about it is also a little gross.
And let me tell you something, people. You go watch this movie. It's a movie about magic and kung fu. You couldn't fucking arrest an Asian guy, like Indian Asian, sure, but like Chinese Asian, Japanese.
The fat, the guy Wong or whatever his name is. I think his name was Benedict Wong, I believe.
That was the one dude.
I like that guy. And by the way, when I first saw there's a giant poster by Warner Bros. Where I work. That has a list of the cast across the top of the poster, and it's like Benedict Cumberbatch, Tilda Swinton, and in this list of names is Benedict Wong. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Why are they putting him above the line or whatever? And he didn't even have a huge part, and then I heard about this controversy of the character being Asian. So they were like, well, we better put an Asian up there. Like, Hollywood is so gross and transparent, and... people just don't call certain things out.
There were more black guys in Asia than were Asian people.
That's true.
Which was just...
Well, it was probably filmed in Montreal, let's be honest.
Yeah, but my point is it seemed to me that there was almost a policy to not have Asian people in the movie.
Yeah.
And I can't speak to that. I'm just saying that's what it felt like to me. Anyway, he gets to the temple, which is just like a row home, immediately meets the mystic Ancient One. She immediately... By the way, after he's journeyed on foot, like on this fucking Batman journey thing, he gets there, and then she's like, yeah, like, it's magic. That's how this shit works. And he's still like, yeah, right, lady. What are you, nuts? And it's like, you just walked from America.
Yeah.
You're still, really?
Yeah.
It's just bad writing, once again. So anyway, then she puts her hands on his temple. and like blows his mind, like makes him like body. What's that called? Astral project or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to interject there because, I mean, as we've established time and time again on this show, we go to movies, I think, for different reasons sometimes, and especially a movie like that, I'm never analyzing the writing. I'm like, am I bored or not? I've been bored at every Avengers, every Hulk, every other.
It's because most of them aren't that good.
They're terrible, and it's just big things exploding, and I'm bored out of my mind. Doctor Strange, I liked Cumberbatch. I liked the characters that Benedict Wong. I liked him. Actually, thought he was kind of charming and funny. But at that moment when she touches him and he goes into the astral plane, which was basically just like a mushroom trip kind of thing, I was like, this is awesome. I haven't seen this before. I wish I was very stoned, and I would like to see this again in 3D. I'm going to see it again in 3D stoned because that's the ultimate. I thought they created something very cool here in a visual world, and a lot of the visuals in this movie were fresh to me and pretty awesome.
Look, I tip my hat to the director who also directed Sinister, and his name is escaping me at the moment, but I got the Rotten Tomatoes page open right here. But I tip my hat to the director, and I love Sinister. I've talked Scott Derrickson. I talk positively frequently on and off this podcast about how much I love Sinister. I thought it was
Sinister's videotape of the family hanging and Ethan Hawke. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Thought it might have been the best horror movie that year.
Great movie.
And I thought he did a tremendous job with the visual effects in this film. That is not enough to carry a film. And
to me, it definitely can be because that's all these movies are.
Well,
to me, they can be more, but they rarely are.
Let's not digress when I say this.
Okay.
But there's a reason why I liked Batman versus Superman was because I didn't think it was just visual effects. I thought there was a brooding and emotional quality there that I don't see in the Marvel movies. It wasn't a joke and a punchline every 3 seconds like it's a fucking sitcom. Okay? The characters had emotional investment in things. And it wasn't
completely
bright.
Disagree with everything you're going to say about Batman.
Sure, okay,
as
fine.
we know. But
fine. Anyway, back to Doctor Strange. She immediately, this guy walks in off the street. She immediately puts her hands on his head, blows his mind, shows him all the possibilities of the universe and whatever. And
I think pretty clearly a drug allegory as well. I think.
And then he goes
they're clearly hinting that drugs are at play.
Yeah, and then he goes, teach me, and she goes, no. So it's like, okay, I get that you want to establish some sort of tension, but and conflict here, that he doesn't just get to walk in and get taught. But again, it's shit writing. You don't just show some schmuck the secrets of the universe and then go, no, I'm not going to teach you. And then, by the way, people, here's how he ends up getting taught. Here's the struggle he goes through. He sits on the stoop of the building for 3 hours. And then they finally let him in, and here's how they let him in. He's leaning against the front door, and there's a buzzer. The fucking sacred temple has a buzzer in case they order pizza. Dude, what a fucking pile of shit that movie is.
Jesus Christ.
It really makes me mad. And that buzzer joke was the first joke in the movie, and then it was just nonstop. It was just nonstop dumb jokes.
Why do you hate? I mean, I guess they weren't great jokes, but what is the issue with humor
because
in these movies?
Because it's not a comedy. I don't mind.
But
Marvel,
it can be whatever it wants to be.
Sure. I hate it.
Like Deadpool is a comedy.
Deadpool is supposed to be that.
Did you see Deadpool yet?
Yes, I like Deadpool quite a bit.
Because you hated it prior to seeing it. I know that much.
I was mad that everybody kept saying that Batman versus Superman sucked and Deadpool was great.
That's true.
In your opinion.
Deadpool's pretty good.
I like Deadpool quite a bit.
Yeah.
But that speaks to my point. You have a character like Deadpool. You have a character like Tony Stark. That's what they're supposed to do. When you have every character doing it in every movie all the time, it gets ruined. Marvel movies are literally at the point that fucking Schwarzenegger movies were at in the 80s, the tail end,
right,
when we were like making fun of it. And you would make fun of like the terrible one-liners and stuff. It's that bad.
Yeah, I mean, like if Indiana Jones was cracking jokes every 10 seconds, it would take you out, and it makes the funny moments of those movies much funnier. I see your point, but for me, a miserable 2-hour and 30-minute slog through Batman versus Superman. I think that could have been helped greatly by some attempt at lightness or humor because there was nothing else there for me personally.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying it's got to be humorless or joyless. I'm not saying that.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, and you know this as a writer, you never sacrifice your characters, or your story, or your mood, or your tone for the expense of a joke.
Right.
You don't do that.
Right.
And they do that consistently in Marvel movies, and then they put this out and they say, we pulled back on it in this one, and they didn't. It's more offensively there than ever to me.
But I think when they say we pulled back on it, they're saying that for the diehard comic book fans who don't like it. But what I heard sitting in a sold-out theater, actually couldn't sit with my friend. He was in the front row. I was in the back row. Was just like huge laughs throughout.
Yeah, it's
and these
not
movies
a movie.
make huge amounts of money.
Yeah,
people like them, so they're going to keep doing it. Like,
of
that's
course
just
they're
what
going to
it
keep
is.
doing it. It sucks. It sucks.
I thought Doctor Strange.
There was a time when you could have sat in a movie theater, and I don't say this to shit on the guy, but I don't think it's any secret that he makes bad movies. There was a time when you could have sat in a movie theater and heard roaring laughter through most Adam Sandler films.
Yes.
And they're not good movies.
Well, the first few are for sure.
Billy Madison is great.
Yes.
Happy Gilmore is good, and The Wedding Singer is pretty good. After that, it is dog shit.
Big Daddy's great.
Big Daddy is not great.
All four of those are really, really
Fine.
funny movies.
But
I suspect The Waterboy doesn't hold up. The other four are great.
Guess what? I'm telling you, there's a time when you could have sat in a theater and watched Little Nicky and heard roaring laughter. There was a time when
Waterboy, yes, because I was in that theater. Little Nicky, no.
There were people that used to go see Rob Schneider films and call them hilarious. It does. I don't care if everybody's laughing.
No, I know.
And congrats, Marvel. Everybody's laughing. You have spoon-fed the masses at the expense of your characters being cool or interesting at this point.
But I thought Doctor Strange, maybe I'm just going off of visuals, but was a much more cool, interesting, and yes, fun, which I think fun should be a part of a movie where
Absolutely.
It's got superheroes and villains.
Absolutely.
More fun than any of the Marvels and certainly any of the recent Batman shit.
Well, let me continue with the logic issues.
All right.
The movie opens with pages being stolen from a sacred book. And you don't know why it's sacred, and you don't know why it's bad that these pages are being stolen, but you just assume these are the bad guys and whatever, and there's a big fight for the pages and all this bullshit. Strange, in his training, walks into the library where your other boy, Benedict, the other Benedict is working, who, by the way, later they cut to him playing, listening to Beyonce on an iPad or an iPhone. It's just awful.
that was troublesome. I didn't like that at all.
It's just awful.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the guy guarding the secrets of the fucking universe, and he's sitting there with an iPod shuffle listening to Beyonce. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, I didn't care for that.
Anyway, he goes in and he's going, these are the books here and these are the books there, and he won't give Strange certain books that he wants to get and whatever because you got to learn slowly. Then Strange literally goes, hey, man, how about these books over here? And he walks over to these books on a wall, and that guy goes, what's the guy's name again?
Benedict Wong?
Wong. But isn't his character's name Wong, too?
Maybe. Sounds right.
So
has there ever been an Asian character not named Wong? Like, what? Like, come on, people. Click on Wikipedia or do something. Google other names.
Yeah, I know.
It's offensive.
I know it's offensive. So Wong, I'm saying Wong because of his real life name.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, those are the Ancient Ones' secret books. They're not for you to touch. And Cumberbatch just takes one off the wall and starts reading it. These people have the ability to teleport. There's a scene before that where she opens a window in the fucking air in front of them and shoves Benedict Cumberbatch through it, and he's on Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Awesome. Loved it.
Can't protect these books better than that. These are the top secret books that he could just pull it down, and he's reading it. And Wong's like, hey, man, I think you should put that down. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to. And then, big surprise, he sneaks back in later and reads it when he's not supposed to. And that's also the scene where he takes this medallion off of a mantle. Nobody says a goddamn word about it. He wears it through the entire movie. It gives him powers that are so unorthodox in this tradition of magic that at the end, I forget the character's name. The good guy, like his right-hand man, turns bad at the end because he's so disgusted that Benedict Cumberbatch would abuse this power.
Right.
And you're like, what is the big fucking deal? Then he brings the necklace back, and Wong goes, never good to walk around with an infinity stone. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. You mean the thing people have been blowing planets up for in all the other Marvel movies? He can just take it off a stick and wear it?
That was tied into the other shit?
The Infinity Stones are the things that fucking who the fuck is the guy that God damn it, I'm so worked up I can't remember anything.
Roger Rabbit.
No. The guy
Medea.
Who's the guy from Brolin? Josh Brolin.
Okay.
Thanos. The Infinity Stones are the things that he plays Thanos in the second Avengers movie.
Josh Brolin?
Yeah, that's Josh Brolin as Thanos in the second Avengers movie.
That can't be right.
It's 100% right.
Who is Thanos?
He's the guy in the second Avengers movie.
I watched this movie
that's like on
recently.
the other planet. That's like, I'll go do it myself then. And he's like on that floating throne.
I have to look this up.
He is Thanos.
All
my point is every movie has been about the Infinity Stones. The Infinity Stone is what Loki steals in the first Thor movie.
I'll be damned.
And that allows him, are you ready for this? Allows him to take over Earth in the first Avengers movie. He almost destroys Earth with it. In Guardians of the Galaxy, those people after the crew, you know, Star-Lord and them, they like blow up that fucking planet, or at least try to get the Infinity Stone from Benicio del Toro. It's ridiculous.
In which one?
In Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous. They have set up in every movie, these are the most sacred things. They can never be treated without extreme care. They can never fall into the wrong hands. And fucking Stephen Strange walks in and he just wears it and they're like, okay.
How many stones are there?
There's like 7 or 6 or something. I forget.
I mean, if I'm expected to remember all this shit movie to movie, they can kiss my ass. I'm not doing any of that.
Well, I'm telling you what their own logic is and how they betray it because they can't write a fucking movie script anymore. It's terrible.
Yeah, I didn't make all that Infinity Stone connection. I mean, really, all I can say is I had fun and I thought the visuals were fucking amazing.
The visuals were great, but I mean, for Christ's sakes, you get good visuals in a Radiohead video. I don't need to go pay $20 for a ticket and then another 10 on gummy bears and a soda to sit there and see good visuals.
What? But I mean, that's what you're going to the movies for. That's what
You're going to the movies for a good movie, and a good movie can have visuals, but visuals do not make a good movie.
I think a lot of people who get as upset as you are about Doctor Strange and its ilk would be better served just rolling up being like, I hope this is cool. That's what I do.
But here's what really gets me going.
I've lowered my expectations.
Here's what gets me going. Every single person that said this movie was fun and they had a great and they liked it, whatever.
Yeah.
These are the same people that said that not just, I didn't really like Batman versus Superman, that it was an abomination, that it was a train wreck of a film. It's not. It's not. If you watch it front to back, especially the director's cut, you're like, okay, it might not be for you, but anybody with a brain can't look at it and go, this is terrible. You could just be like, well, I didn't like it because I thought it was boring, or I didn't like it. But it looked amazing. The story was better executed. It had better dialogue. It was better acted. This was not a good movie.
You're talking about how they had this, their moms had the same name? Is that
That's in the comics.
Ugh.
That's in the comics.
That doesn't make it right. You know?
That does make it right.
That's in the comics doesn't ever work on me. A, because I don't read them, and B, because a lot of comics are fucking stupid.
Well, and then I
used to read Alf comics.
I think
and I didn't watch Alf and go, hey, that's not what Alf does in the Alf comics.
I think in this discussion we are proving what the thing is with Marvel movies and why I don't like them. They're meant for people like you that want to go in off the street and have a few laughs and go, that looked cool.
But those, even as that, they 9 times out of 10, maybe 99 out of 100 times, don't work for me. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought they did the comedy was funny. B,
I thought Guardians was good.
I liked and cared about all the characters. Generally, I don't give a shit about anybody in these movies. I hope they all die, essentially, when I'm watching them. It's how I feel about a lot of things. I watched Westworld. I said on this show, I watched the pilot. I was like, it's the best thing HBO's done in ages. I was so on board in the pilot.
I enjoyed Westworld.
And week after week after week, it loses me. And I don't care about anyone on it. I actually hate everyone on it and want them to die. So if you want everyone to die, why am I watching week to week? And my girlfriend's still into it, and I'm always like dozing off. And she's like, how are you falling asleep during this? Because I don't care about anyone in it. Generally, that's how I feel on Marvel, including Iron. I love the first Iron Man, but seeing him as part of this big group of people in suits doing stupid shit flying around, I don't care ever. Doctor Strange, I thought Cumberbatch was an interesting choice for the role. I liked him. I thought he brought kind of a cool vibe to it.
He was an interesting choice for the role, and they squandered him because they got rid of all the darkness. They got rid of all the mystique. They got rid of everything. It's the same fucking thing they did with Ant-Man. In the comic books...
How dark was Ant-Man in its original vision?
Ant-Man in the comic books, I think his name's Hank Pym, right?
No idea.
I know. But Ant-Man in the comic books...
Adamant, I believe.
He's an alcoholic. He's brilliant. He's abusive. He's a piece of shit. He's a fucking horrible guy.
But they can't all be pieces of shit because people don't want to see it, unfortunately.
None of them are pieces of shit.
Yes.
They're all every character might as well be Vince Vaughn. They're all just wisecracking like, hey, the building exploded. Oh, my crotch is on fire with you in that spandex, Black Widow. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible.
Doctor Strange, I thought, was basically they were just doing Dr. House, which is a show I've never seen. But
it's just called House.
House. House MD, I think, is actually the name of the show.
No, it's just called House.
Well, they slap an MD on those posters.
Nobody's saying the MD part. Nobody.
Look,
literally not one person has ever said the MD part.
Dr. House MD, they're basing it, I thought, on him as a British kind of dick. I guarantee in all these meetings at Marvel.
It's not based on House, Pat.
No,
the character's been around since the 60s.
I'm saying that's what I bet they were basing him on, and whether for better or worse, they were like, Dr. House MD was a huge hit. Let's start. I mean, let's base him off of that. I never give a shit. I mean, Ant-Man, I like
something. Becker was a darker character than Doctor Strange was.
Sure.
It should have been Ted Danson in the sitcom Becker, and it would have been more riveting and darker and conflicted than Doctor Strange was.
But
Ant-Man,
you're equating dark with good. And
I'm not equating dark with good.
I love the darkest shit in my drama, my everything. But when we get into these movies where everyone's already in fucking tights and jumping around or space suits or whatever, I don't need it to also be 2.5 hours like they all are. Doctor Strange was thankfully shorter. And I don't need them to be just miserable slogs through the mud.
It doesn't.
I don't need them to be hilarious, although I thought Deadpool saying straight out of the gate, we are an R-rated comedy, was cool and interesting. And it was a more successful superhero comedy than has really ever been done because they all suck. Mystery Men I liked. Hancock is terrible.
I like Hancock.
Oh, come on.
I like Hancock.
I mean, it's a stupid thing. I don't think horror comedies ever work, really. Like, it's just kind of a stupid thing to try to match up. When they do work, it can be very thrilling. I think a lot of people responded to Deadpool because the jokes were actually funny and the action worked to some extent, even though the third act of Deadpool is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
that's supposed to be.
I thought the third act of Doctor Strange was into some really cool time-jumping shit, and I liked it.
Well, let me ask you this about your precious time-jumping moment that you seem to love so much. Because that's the end of the movie. He creates a time loop, which you're never supposed to do, but he has to do it.
I liked it.
Okay, fine. It's classic. It is classic textbook 101 script writing horse shit. It's literally the movie Twister. Nobody's ever seen a finger of God. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen in the last 15 minutes. Anyway, so
that's every movie.
It's not every movie. It's not every movie.
It's most movies.
And you know damn well it's not every movie.
So you think at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, they're talking about the Ark, and then at the end they find a pelican with magic powers?
Here's the difference. Mask it a little bit, give it a little finesse, and write it the correct way. You know what they don't say at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark? Hey, man, if we ever find that Ark of the Covenant, we better not look inside of it. Melt your face off, I heard. Woo! We definitely won't do that. That's how this is written. Never do a time jump.
I thought it was a little smoother than you're making it out to be.
Anyway, he does a time loop, and that means that they have to live the same moment over and over for infinity. Wong tells him...
And I personally, granted, I'm not a big sci-fi guy. I had not seen that before. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Wong tells him...
Yes.
There's no way to break it.
Yes.
Tells him that. There's no way to break this. If you get stuck in this, you're fucked.
Right.
And it's eternity in the same moment over and over. So it's like, okay, that sounds pretty horrible. Then he does it, in theory, to save the world or whatever. Okay, cool. He's doing like the sacrificial thing. Then they show the time loop. It's not the same moment over and over. He says different things every time. They're aware that it's repeating. So if you're living the same moment over and over again, yet you're aware that it's infinitely repeating, you're not living the same moment over and over again.
Well,
it's not the same thing.
Well,
he made it sound like a
day. He's living the same day over and over again, but he can do different things within it.
I didn't think Groundhog Day looked like a bad time. Didn't carry the weight.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't bug me. I think it is the same moment, and he comes out, but you can say whatever you want within the moment. That didn't bump me in
All
any
right,
way.
fine. Then if I'm putting too fine a point on that, the next thing I would say is, and then he just breaks the time loop.
I forget. Like, how did he break the time loop?
I can't even remember.
I
was so disgusted by this point in the film that I read the ending of it on Wikipedia before I saw it. I was so aggravated at what I wanted to leave the movie. I was disgusted with myself.
You really
for
psych yourself up at these things.
Anyway,
you're big on walking out and ruining endings. And
you walk out. You walked out of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, well, that's how I felt about this.
And I think, Doctor Strange was a fucking masterpiece compared to Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad tried to do something different, and they fell short of the mark.
I don't know what they were trying to do different.
They tried.
They were trying to replicate a hot topic.
No, they were trying to create a graphic novel on film.
Well, they tried to do that with, like, Watchmen, which is a kind of a boring failure.
No, we don't have time for Suicide Squad. We've already done it. But
Let me ask you this, Joe. If you could get trapped in any moment, and it would be let's pick our worst and best moments you could be trapped in. Wouldn't that be fun?
Between the two of us?
Just on your own.
This moment right now. I'd
Is
like
your
to
best.
yell at you. I'd like the full hour to repeat forever, and I get to yell at you about Doctor Strange for all eternity.
Wouldn't you rather yell at me about something I give two shits about?
Nope.
I just thought Doctor Strange was kind of fun.
No.
All right.
And it frustrates me that you think that. I'm angry at you about it.
If I could, my least favorite moment that I would not want to get trapped in is the time on a plane when you're landed, but you're not getting off, and you never get off the plane.
Why would you want that?
That's what I don't want. I said pick me. That to me is the most miserable moment ever. And everybody stands up and cranes their neck all the way to the right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you fucking standing? There's 80 people ahead of you. Sit down.
Right.
You stink. Get
Right.
your asshole out of my nose. And it drives me insane. And if that moment was just that and you never got off the plane, that to me would be my ultimate low of a time loop that I would hate. And then for, my time loop positive one, I guess it would be coming while stoned.
Yeah, all right.
Is that all right to say?
Yeah, my loop that I picked is both my best and my worst.
Yelling at me?
Or being stuck with you for all eternity in a loop.
I guess that's kind of nice.
Yeah, but it wouldn't really be a loop because when the loop started over, we could go, apparently. I don't feel like talking about Doctor Strange anymore. Let's just drink for
we can
an
talk
hour.
about whatever we want.
Yeah, it's
All
so
right.
dumb. All right.
I mean, I think I hate to say this because I think people are so stupid. I've actually been seeing all these like people shitting on Manchester by the Sea, like it's boring, it's slow, and those people are idiots who are just not willing to challenge themselves. Granted, you have a different opinion than me doesn't mean you're an idiot, but like if you think that movie's boring, I can't help you. My advice to you would be to keep your brain sharp and tight for the good movies, and for these big, stupid action movies, if you want to go see them, you got to shut your brain off to some degree and enjoy them, or take a little puff and watch the visuals and have a nice time.
I don't agree with that.
I understand that you don't.
I think that's the problem with America, and I think you're the reason Trump is president.
Woo!
Let's get to our closing bit with some reviews.
By the way, if you do go back through these archives, I know that I'm on record as saying, look, I hate this. Nobody wants to believe this, but Trump is going to win.
And I agreed with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, folks.
Look, prophetic. Who knew the podcast was prophetic? All right, Patty, this is our newer segment that we've been doing, and it's just consists of me reading a very funny bad review, usually off Rotten Tomatoes. I chose Man Down this week.
What's Man Down?
It's the new Shia LaBeouf, Gary Oldman movie.
What?
Has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What the hell is it?
How can it be that bad? How can it have a 0%? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, ready? This is my favorite of all. There's literally not one tomato in the top critic reviews.
Now, what is the premise?
Let me read it. When U.S. Marine Gabriel Drummer returns home from his tour in Afghanistan, he finds that the place he once called home is no better than the battlefields he fought on overseas. Accompanied by his best friend Devin Roberts, played by Jai Courtney, a hard-nosed Marine with a natural instinct to
Who's
shoot
Jai Courtney?
first.
He plays Spawn?
No.
Michael Jai White.
That's Michael Jai White. Jai Courtney is the guy from Terminator Salvation.
No.
That played Kyle Reese.
Okay. Sounds terrible.
Well, apparently Jai Courtney in this movie is hard-nosed and has a natural instinct to shoot first and ask questions later. It's never good. He searches desperately for the whereabouts of his estranged son and wife. I already don't care. It lost me already. It's too much going on. All right. This review comes from Jessica Kying at the Playlist. I believe that's how you say it.
Yeah.
In a couple of years, when you're watching TV and something not very good comes on, starring Shia LaBeouf, Gary Oldman, Jai Courtney, Clifton Collins, and Kate Mara, you'll know it's Man Down.
That's funny. That's funny.
Very funny. Very, very funny. I like those bad reviews. They're very funny. I wanted to do one on Doctor Strange, but even the bad ones weren't funny. They were just kind of like, Marvel's losing its touch.
I used to review movies for this AOL website called Cinematical. Great website. R.I.P. Scott Weinberg, who's a great horror writer now, worked there, and a bunch of other people. And I wrote a review of Fool's Gold with Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson. That was so vicious. I was really angling to be fired in retrospect. I was just like, I hated it so much, and I shat on it. I compared it to like putting barbed wire into your urethra and went on and on. I was just like, fuck this movie. And it felt great. Like, I don't know why more critics don't take a big swing and just really shit on something.
Because companies like Marvel, I suspect, are buying their reviews. I think payola has polluted its dirty way into...
Marvel didn't buy Doctor Strange. I assume it has like a 90% or something.
Well, but
Marvel's not contacting your Eberts, because they need a Ouija board.
We know for a fact... Look, I'm a big Disney fan because they have Star Wars now, and they have Indiana Jones. So I am supportive of Disney.
Sure.
But we know for a fact that Disney absolutely put their muscle down at the ArcLight here in Hollywood because Tarantino came out about that and said, I wanted to show Hateful Eight on the whatever giant 70 millimeter screen. They wouldn't let the ArcLight do it because they said they had to keep running Star Wars.
But that wasn't about reviews.
But my point is if we know a company's able to bully a bit, is it that out of, and in a world and a business where we know payola is a thing that existed and probably still exists, is it that crazy to think?
Well, the people who
somebody at Rolling Stone, way up the ladder, is going, Pete, don't give the Marvel movie a bad review.
I would almost guarantee Peter Travers is being bought because he's the worst movie reviewer currently alive.
It's not an unbelievable theory.
The people who have done it have been found out. You're Pete Hammonds, who now writes for fucking Deadline after he got exposed for, giving a positive review to every movie that was ever released. Now he writes for a major website. But I don't think your average movie critic is being bribed to say something good or bad about a movie. I don't buy that. I don't buy it.
I just don't understand how the average
maybe
movie...
sometimes if there's an interview with Benedict Cumberbatch next to a review of Doctor Strange, then I would be pretty suspect.
Then explain this to me.
In Entertainment Weekly or something.
Then explain this to me, and then we'll wrap up. How then do you justify the fact that every artistic film that comes out, not every art, this is hyperbole, but a good deal of the artistic stuff coming out of the independent artistic film world right now, both the people behind the cameras, what the scripts themselves are saying, what the characters in the movies are saying, these films shit on specifically these movies.
Yeah. Specifically
these movies. So how in the fuck does every top critic give both Birdman, great example,
right,
an A+, and The Avengers an A+? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. There is a definite...
Well, they're not giving Avengers an A+. I think they're viewing it for what it is, which is what I do and what you should try to do, is not judge them both as The Avengers needs to be a work of art. I think The Avengers sucks balls. But I think they're saying this is a great example of an action movie.
But I don't think...
And this is a great example of an independent movie.
But this is what I'm saying. I don't think Marvel is making great examples of action movies anymore.
No,
and I have a hard time believing that these critics think that. The Marvel films have gotten to the point... I'm telling you, they're Demolition Man era Stallone movies. Have you seen Demolition Man recently?
No, I haven't seen it since I was 10.
I'm a Stallone fan. It is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And it got good reviews when it came out. It's
not really.
That was like one of his comebacks. That was the one he did after Cliffhanger, where people were like,
get great reviews. Cliffhanger did. Demolition Man did not. And I like Cliffhanger.
These Marvel is, aside from the fact that if you took away Marvel's convincing visual effects, they are starting to slide into canon films territory right now, where it's like this is all just pop and visual. There's no substance. Yeah. It feels like it's being written in a factory by people. Like it doesn't feel genuine at all.
I think here's how they buy reviews: is and I went this when I was a critic too. I got to interview, go in and talk to Denzel Washington for 10 minutes. It's hard to write a bad review of a Denzel Washington movie when you are charmed by the man for 10 minutes, and he's the most likable man in the world. They might buy him that away a little, but that's not handing somebody money. And they also throw these huge parties and premieres where critics who, and I'm including myself in this, aren't Brad Pitt, they didn't get laid, whatever, and they're treated like gods for a day, then they might give it a good review. And nobody's getting money in this day and age.
And you don't think
any critic who would be swayed by that shit shouldn't be a movie critic anyway.
I'm not saying literally bought. I'm just saying it is not out.
That's how they do Oscars and shit too, though.
Well, of course. But
of course.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying like that's why you can't sit here and tell me. And that is, well, you can, but I just don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I believe that it's a coincidence that Jesse Eisenberg, who a year ago everybody said was the greatest actor on the planet, and he rewrote the book with what he did in the Facebook movie, and my God, this kid is a prodigy and all that stuff.
I mean, well, no, he wasn't even nominated for Best Actor for that.
And then he
was fine.
And then he does Lex Luthor, and he does a good job, and people go, it's just terrible. It's unwatchable. It's like, oh, come on.
All of your issues stem from Batman versus
Something
Superman.
Doesn't smell funny to you there? Something doesn't smell a little funny to you there?
I think you can be good in one thing and shitty in another if the movie sucked.
But he wasn't shitty.
I love Michael Shannon. He's one of my favorite actors.
Oh, can we talk about him?
He forgot he was in Batman. He fell asleep when he watched it.
He's an asshole. Can we talk about him for a minute?
I think he's very funny. Go ahead.
Can we talk about Michael Shannon? That
Well,
dumb statement he made?
That
He's like, hey, if your parents voted for Trump, fuck them. Don't go home for Christmas.
Yeah.
Silence speaks. Shut the fuck up, Michael Shannon. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, no, that's what you do. You cut off your family members.
Why can't he speak his mind?
He's an idiot.
I do not think Michael Shannon is an idiot.
I think he's an idiot.
I think he's an incredible actor, and he has been for decades.
I didn't say he was a bad actor. So I think he's an idiot.
Whenever I read what he said in an interview, I'm like, that's pretty funny.
I think he's crazy, arrogant. He fucking said in an interview recently, he goes, yeah, I was offered, I won't say which, but a major role in a Marvel or Star Wars thing. I turned it down. It was for a lot of money. But if I don't feel it, shut the fuck up, Michael Shannon.
Well, apparently he felt your precious Batman versus Superman, but then he fell asleep in it.
Well, he's an asshole. That's another thing I don't believe in doing.
Well, I bet if Michael Shannon walked in here right now, you'd be like, Mikey.
I met him once, and
was he an asshole?
Yes.
What did he say?
I met him on the street, and I go, hey, man.
You said, Mr. Shannon, can I get your autograph?
It was before he was famous, and I met him, and I go, hey, man, you're an actor, and I really like your work. I think you're really great. And he's like, yeah, thanks, man. And whatever. Like as if he was being rushed by people all the time. Fine. That's fine. Then I see him.
Seems pretty reasonable.
I'll tell you in a second. Well, let me get to it.
All right.
Can I get to it? Let me get to it. 2 days later, I swear to God, I see him on the little taxi TV thing in New York.
Yep.
The Talk Stoop.
I'm familiar.
Where he's getting interviewed. And the lady goes, what don't you like? And he goes, don't like it when people come up to me and go, hey, you're that guy. Don't like that. Well, you're that guy, Mike. Okay? Nobody knows your name, Mike. Because you know why nobody knows your name? Because you didn't do the fucking Star Wars movie, dipshit. You want to be famous and in movies that play in 3 fucking theaters? Shut up. He's an asshole.
Wow. I mean, it's my favorite thing about you. If you have an opinion, it's a very passionate opinion. I'd like to go on record as saying I enjoy the work of Michael Shannon, and I don't think anything Joe just said about him bothered me in any way. Even as your examples of what an asshole he was, I was like, seems pretty normal to me.
I enjoy his work too.
All right.
I just don't think he's a cool guy.
Take Shelter. Check out his performance in Take Shelter.
How many times I got to say it? I think he's a phenomenal actor.
Revolutionary Road.
I think he's a dick.
Before the Devil Knows You Down.
He wasn't that great in Revolutionary Road, and he got nominated, and he stunk in fucking Man of Steel. He was a terrible General Zod. He fucking.
Oh, that's the one he was in. Was he not in Batman vs Superman too?
His dead body is in it.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, oh yeah, I fell asleep in the one I wasn't in.
Oh, Man of Steel. I mean, Man of Steel was just. Come on, these are all bad movies.
I like Man of Steel.
All right.
But you don't like, you know.
Why we need to just wrap this up.
Why?
Don't get into your Batman hole again. How long have we been going here?
If we go another 18 minutes, we got a 2-parter. I say we just do another 18 and split this puppy in half.
People are done here. I'm putting a ban on Batman versus Superman from here on out. There are other movies.
You can't put a ban on it.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
You wanted to talk about Doctor Strange. We talked about it.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it for 2 seconds. And then you said, let's make it an episode. We did.
It's a hell of an episode.
It's a hell of an episode.
You don't think this was a good episode?
But I don't want to talk about Batman vs. Superman as long as I live. This was a great episode.
All right, good. All right, well, I guess we should wrap it up then.
All right.
Could have had a 2-parter, people. Pat said no.
I like to give people a little more than what they want. Talk to any lady I've ever dated.
I don't look at it as getting an extra 13 minutes. I look at it as losing an additional 17 minutes.
I'm a giver and you're a taker.
It's like the casino thing.
These people paid good money for this podcast.
Yeah. He doesn't see it as winning 30,000. He sees it as losing 100,000.
Yeah, exactly.
My plugs. I don't really have any, I don't think. I'm not on the road again until the new year. But my short horror fiction column is still cranking out stories once a month. Some severe situations. Go check that out. Oh, and I need more Instagram followers. You know, with this Instagram bullshit. So if you guys want to follow me on
Instagrams,
I'd appreciate it. At Joe DeRosa Comedy on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm at Twitter, Instagram at the Patrick Walsh, And my buddy David Angelo, who's a very funny comic, did a web series for Comedy Central called Nothing's Easy, available on the Comedy Central app. I'm in one of the new season. I think it's called Party. And they're funny little 2-minute things. He's a funny dude.
All right. Was that the end of the plug?
I don't have any other plug. Check it out.
No, it just kind of trickled out. All right, taper off at the end.
Check it out. There's
You've been listening to We'll See You in Hell. It's a presentation of FANGORIA Podcast Network, produced by Thomas DeFeo, executive produced by Ken Hanley at FANGORIA Entertainment. If you want some press opportunities, advertising inquiries, or information about We'll See You in Hell, contact Ken. His email is ken@fangoria.com.
Yeah, that's important, by the way. Please talk to Ken. We have a lot of subscribers and listeners these days, and Joe and I kind of don't know where to begin in terms of getting advertisers, and we'd love to have one. And I think you can get a great deal from us because we don't know what we're doing. So
Yes.
if you want people to find out about your product, I always hear about Casper Mattress and Audible and all this, hit us up. We're looking.
Yeah, and we want to thank you all for the downloads and the reviews and the listens. We
And the
officially
tweets.
charted, too,
Yeah.
on iTunes. We got up to, like, the top 20 at one point, and then
Yeah, it's been great.